like Medicare for all, they should be putting their foot, drawing a line in the sand. But especially with climate collapse, literally incremental centrism is going to get us killed. Yeah. Like, it's literally like, well, Joe Biden, at least it's better than Trump. Okay, great. So instead of all dying by 2040, we're going to die by 2046. Awesome. Wow. Thank you. Incremental centrism. Like, this COP26 was a complete failure. And no one is willing to just, and AOC was screaming 2 years ago after that UN study that came out in 2018 that said, literally, we got 12 years. We got to be completely off of fossil fuels by 2030. That study came out in 2018. It's almost 2022. So we're now 8 years away. And we're just, it's cap and trade and this little incremental nonsense that came out of COP26. And, well, it's better than nothing. Like, it's unbelievable that these people, and look, AOC's a lot younger than I am, and she's going to have a hellscape of an earth, in her 50s and 60s. Like, if it makes it that long, because we all might be dead. So, like, I don't think people understand that with regards to the environment, we don't have time for incremental centrism. I'm so sick. As I'm old enough and to have followed enough politics enough, I've heard this. There's always this magical day down the road that the Democrats will get it done. Not now, but just wait. Then it's always that. Then once we get, like, don't like, we just got to, I didn't want to see Bill Clinton win in 92, but just wait. Once he gets a second term, then everything, once Obama gets it, then when we just take back the House, then but when they have all the power, like the Democrats and Biden just had, that they're going to lose next November, that Obama had for the first 2 years of his presidency, when they controlled the House and the Senate, the Democrats controlled everything. They do nothing. And so we're always told, it's obstructionist Republicans. No, it's obstructionist Democrats. And right. So this incremental centrism, and then there's all these like Gen Xers and millennials, mainly Gen Xers, that watch way too much West Wing, where incremental centrism was celebrated every goddamn week. They think it's, wow, we got to take what you can get. The planet's on fire, and climate change doesn't give a shit if you believe in it or not. It doesn't care what your donor or constituents think. It doesn't care about the midterms. It's only going to get worse. And we are facing an extinction level event. And literally, it's like the end of Dr. Strangelove, where they're arguing in the war room as a bomb is coming to blow up the planet. So I don't know what more people need to do. I don't know what it's going to take.
I want to play as a juxtaposition to what you just said, Nancy Pelosi's victory lap this morning, if you could take it, on this quote unquote transformational bill.
This is legislation that creates millions of good-paying jobs, gives tax cuts to the middle class, lowers costs, especially health care costs and child care costs for the middle class, and is paid for 100%. And again, we're very excited about what it does for the children, for the families. And it's, again, if you're a mom, a dad, a family caregiver, or the rest, this bill's for you. If you care about the planet and how we pass it on to our children, as this bill's for you, whether it's about right now their health and the health and well-being, whether it's good-paying jobs for their family and green technology, good union jobs, if it's the security of our country by preventing and hoping to mitigate for conflicts that come from conflict over resources and habitat. Great day for the Democratic Party, maybe it is. But it's a great day for our country. We have stood the test of the parliamentarians' privilege scrub. We are celebrating that. We are sending it over to the Senate, and we are ready to debate for our bill and have a big success. What we're talking about is what has happened, and it's a glorious, glorious, historic, transformative piece of legislation for the people, for women, for the children. Thank you all very much.
All right. That's enough. I don't know.
Jordan, this is pretty painful.
So just so people know what's in this transformational monumental.
And this is different than the infrastructure bill that just passed, correct?
Right.
This is the new bill.
And by the way, the infrastructure bill, which Biden's been going around talking about, The infrastructure bill is only $500 billion in new money. It's not it's technically 1.2 trillion. It's actually $500 billion in new money. Estimates years ago said we needed close to $3 trillion just to keep pace with our crumbling infrastructure. And oh, by the way, that $500 billion, it's basically just money being handed to private companies. So public waterways, public sewer systems, public infrastructure being sold to private vultures, that with the revenue for that from that private vultures going towards building new infrastructure. So they call it asset recycling. Just to dumb it down, it's just privatization on steroids. So that's in the infrastructure bucket that they're cheering about. That's really going to have no impact on Democrats keeping power. It'll build a few new bridges and shit like that, but it's definitely not at all what we need. And by the way, in that infrastructure, they stripped out all the climate proposals. So in this, here's a couple things that you could argue are good, and I'm not going to say they're not. There's funding for 6 years of pre-K for age 3 to 4. I don't have kids. I from people I know that have kids, that's pretty good. So I will say that's a good thing. But it goes really downhill from there. I just want to read, Colin, if you have the NBC News article, because this was like the main teeth of the climate proposal, which was somewhat decent. This was stripped out by Manchin. I don't know if you have this, Colin. Clean energy program likely to be dropped because of Manchin's objections. Of course, President Manchin. The Clean Energy Performance Program, the linchpin of President Biden's proposed climate change legislation, likely to be dropped from the Democrat spending bill. It was not included in this transformational bucket of shit that was passed this morning. Sources say the program will most likely be removed from the massive spending package. The $150 billion program, known as CEPP, is the most sweeping climate measure in the reconciliation bill, and the Biden administration has been counting on it to achieve the bulk of the greenhouse gas emissions reductions in the measure. The carrot and stick approach would pay electric utility companies that switch from fossil fuels to renewable or clean energy sources and fine those that don't. And I think they had to reach a measurement of like 4% switch per year, something like that. But teeth, they would be fined if they did not start shifting over to renewables. That was stripped. Your thoughts on the transformational Build Back Bullshit plan?
The Build Back Bullshit, I mean, to your point about the emails we're all going to be getting after they lose the midterms next November, is don't let the Republicans roll back all of the big Biden victories, like Build Back Better in the infrastructure bill. So they're touting this. That's why Nancy Pelosi's doing she sounds like a drunk wine mom all the time. This is so big and so great for everybody. So then if it's just to get more people to donate. I mean, we just swing this pendulum back between the neo-fascist Republicans and the neoliberal Democrats. I mean, just like these two awful parties. And it's not the perfect bill, but at least it's something. We all got to help with at least it's something while things are getting better and better and better. So you know what? America's going to have to learn the hard way. I mean, I did a video they're talking about in a couple of years, we might have to evacuate some of the outer islands in North Carolina and definitely South Florida. I mean, they hired the Army Corps of Engineers to build a retaining wall all around Miami and then realized, it's limestone, so it's porous. That's not going to work. So we're just going to have these realities. We just had a summer of hurricanes where we had flooding from, New Orleans all the way on up to Manhattan, and the West Coast was on fire. So it's just going to get worse and worse, and they can argue in the media and this and that. And it's not, we're going to have climate refugees, which already has throughout the world. Look what happened in Texas last March. They broken, outdated power grid, freezing rain crippled that state. And I know people live there. It's like a third world country. America already, there was a study that came out several years ago saying America already has places that have third world conditions.
Right. And
this infrastructure bill, like you say, it's mostly going to get privatized. So we'll see. Well, again, we'll see a couple of new bridges and a new road or two here or there, but we're not going to have high-speed rail coast to coast. We're not going to have, solar panels. We're not going to bring the temperature down because the temperature is rising. If it gets to 1.5 to 2 degrees centigrade, we're screwed. Even if it gets to 1.5, it's going to be awful.
Right.
And
But I'd like to ask you also, because I think there's a, put aside whatever you think, fraud squad, sellouts. I don't really give a shit. I'm fed up with all of it and all of them.
Yeah.
But Bernie, and according to what AOC, Rashida Tlaib, all of these progressives said that was their theory of change, right? Activism, like anti-establishment, galvanizing the grassroots. They're not even following what their theory of change is, because Bernie's, I know he's old. What is he, 80 now? I know he's tired, but Bernie's theory of change, I thought, would have been, oh, no, we're not compromising with fucking this extremist Joe Manchin. We're going to have Joe Manchin look out the window because I'm holding a massive rally with 20,000 people in West Virginia, where we're going to go down the list of, I just happened to know because I was just there over the summer reporting, digging into Manchin. West Virginia is the second poorest country in the second poorest state in the country. Has some of the worst healthcare in the country.
They want to play. It's still got to play by the rules, and they're not the people in power, the Joe Manchins of the world, the billionaires, the big corporations. They don't play by the rules. They have their own set of rules. They're not even prosecuted in the same courts we're prosecuted in. I mean, there's no way. And they're so like, well, we got to play by the rules, and we're better than that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I mean, like, I'm sorry, like this is, and they refuse to take the big stand. Because they, I mean, Bernie Sanders said it in 2016. I don't want to become like Ralph Nader. He still wants to be invited to the cool kids party. That's the squad all acquiesced to that. They were going to fight. And the Democrats said, if you do that, you're going to be on a committee determining, erasers. Like you're going to get nothing. And they went, no, I want to play ball. And so this is what they do. And then of course the ruling elites in the media that are owned by the ruling elites. This bill passed today, correct? This bill passed today. Was there a big event that happened also today that's been distracting Americans from this? See, what was it? Was there a court case? What happened today? What's been in the news this last week to keep Americans distracted? I'm not downplaying what happened. We just talked extensively about the Rittenhouse trial, but there's always some there's always some big something that is distracting and dividing everybody from what's really going on. Anytime you hear bipartisan, bend over and grab your ankles because you are getting it.